Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Virtual University. I am your instructor for the course of Training and Development, and we are meeting today for the 16th session of this course. We were discussing the topic of learning. We had discussed about the various theories of learning, and then we had talked about how to use those theories to describe and define the various steps of learning that are involved in the process of learning. And then we had discussed various dominant learning capabilities of people and the variations of that. Today we are going to apply all this information, all this knowledge to develop an understanding, to develop a model of how to create a good instructional environment. What should be the characteristics of a good instructional environment? What can the trainers do? Trainers और managers वो कौन से फैक्टर्स मैनिपुलेट कर सकते हैं, वो कौन से फैक्टर्स इनकॉर्पोरेट कर सकते हैं जिससे लर्निंग फैसिलिटेट हो, जिससे लर्निंग एनवायरनमेंट डेवलप हो. सो हमने लर्निंग थ्योरीज पढ़ी, मोटिवेशनल थ्योरीज पढ़ी. सबसे पहली बात जो हमें आइडेंटिफाई करने की जरूरत है, जो हमें डिजाइन करने की जरूरत है, वो ये है कि एम्प्लॉयज they need to know what they are learning. So therefore, we need to develop objectives of learning. Then we have to develop some meaningful content of the training. Then opportunities to practice should be available. Methods for committing training content to the memory should be designed. Proper feedback should be given. We should know that employees learn through observation, experience, and social interaction. Then there should be proper coordination and arrangement of the training program. And finally, there should be careful selection of instructors. Now we will discuss these points, we will discuss these dimensions individually, that how can we design effective objectives, how can we design meaningful content, how can we give proper feedback, and so on and so forth. All these points that I have just discussed, that I have just enlisted, we are going to discuss them in detail. So first of all, we are going to talk about training objectives. हमने पिछले लेक्चर्स में ये डिस्कस किया था कि गोल सेटिंग मेक्स पीपल मोर मोटिवेटेड. जब आप लोगों को कोई मकसद, कोई ऑब्जेक्टिव प्रोवाइड करते हैं तो उनकी एफर्ट्स उस गोल और उस मकसद के लिए दे आर डायरेक्टेड इनटू दैट डायरेक्शन. सो देयरफॉर वी नीड टू गिव देम प्रॉपर एंड वी नीड टू गिव देम क्लियर ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. Now, we first of all have to see what could be the objectives of training. वो क्या objectives हो सकते हैं जो कि किसी भी ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम में इन्वॉल्व होंगे. उसके लिए लर्निंग के बारे में ब्लूम ने एक टैक्सोनॉमी डेवलप की है. Bloom is an author who had developed this taxonomy, and that has been around for the last 5 or 6 decades. That there are various steps of learning, various steps of objectives. What do you want the employees to do? What do you want the people to learn? What is the level of learning that is involved in your training activity? So the first level is knowledge acquisition. Knowledge acquisition is basically getting information. Knowledge acquisition is to be able to define or describe a particular concept. So किसी भी चीज के बारे में information आपके पास मौजूद हो, किसी भी चीज के बारे में आपके पास अंडरस्टैंडिंग, कॉन्सेप्ट की अंडरस्टैंडिंग हो, ये नॉलेज एक्विजिशन है कि आपको बताया जाए कि किसी भी कॉन्सेप्ट का क्या मतलब है. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इस टेक्सोनॉमी को डिफाइन करने के लिए, इस टेक्सोनॉमी को इलस्ट्रेट करने के लिए, एलैबोरेट करने के लिए, आई विल गिव यू द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ हाउ यू लर्न अबाउट जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन. बिकॉज यू आर HRM स्टूडेंट्स, आप लोगों ने ह्यूमन रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट में स्पेशलाइजेशन करनी है, इसलिए मैं जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन के कॉन्सेप्ट को लेके आपको ये डिफाइन करूंगी और एलैबोरेट करूंगी कि ये वेरियस लेवल ऑफ ऑब्जेक्टिव्स कैसे आप आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं. सो नॉलेज एक्विजिशन में आपको ये बताया जाए कि जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन का मतलब क्या है. व्हाट इज अ जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन? You know how to define job description. So this is the first objective of learning, that you should know what is the job description. What are the various elements of job description? What is the purpose does that serve? The second level of objective that is designed into a learning activity, the second level that we may want people to achieve is comprehension. Comprehension is understanding of the concept in depth. Comprehension means that you just don't know how to describe or restate or tell. You just do not have memorized the definition of job description, but you know that what kind of purposes does that serve, and what are the various elements, and why is a job description designed, why is it important, and what are the various different purposes that it serves. The third level of objective to achieve is application. Application is that now you understand that what is a job description. Job description क्या होती है, उसको कैसे develop किया जाता है, आपको ये सिखाया जाए, आपको ये बताया जाए, आप उसको याद कर लें, आप उसको समझ लें, मेमोराइज कर लें कि जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन क्या होती है, उसके क्या एलिमेंट्स हैं, उसका क्या पर्पस है, किस तरह से उसको डिजाइन किया जाता है. अब एप्लीकेशन का लेवल आ जाता है. अब आपसे कहा जाता है कि डिजाइन द जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ अ प्राइमरी स्कूल मैथमेटिक्स टीचर. सो नाउ यू शुड बी एबल टू अप्लाई दैट नॉलेज, अप्लाई द इंफॉर्मेशन दैट यू हैड एंड द कॉम्प्रिहेंशन दैट यू हैव about the purpose and elements of job description to design that job description. The next level of objectives of learning is analysis. Analysis is the next level, that after you are able to understand, comprehend, and apply a particular concept, then you are able to analyze various variations of that. So now, if three different job descriptions are given to you, you are able to analyze those job descriptions, and then according to that analysis, you are able to develop the job description that was given to you, the assignment that was given to you, that now develop the job description of a mathematics primary school teacher. The next level of learning objective is synthesis. Synthesis is basically concerned with synthesizing information, that you are able to connect various concepts, you are able to connect various experiences and apply that experience and apply that concept to that particular situation. So now, if you are able if you are given with those job descriptions, with those three different job descriptions, you are able to synthesize them, and after that synthesis, and you can also use your own experiences of your life or experiences of your work to analyze that the three different job descriptions that you have, what are the strengths and weaknesses of those job descriptions that you have, and how you can use that information to design a better job description that you already have in those three different job descriptions. So you can apply the knowledge that you had previously, जो आपके पास knowledge पहले से था, जो आपके पास experience पहले से था, जो information आपने अब develop की है, जो information आपको अब दी गई है, एप्लीकेशन के तरीके जो आपने अब एक्वायर किए हैं, उन सब को यूज करके आप सिंथेसिस कर सकते हैं उस सारी इंफॉर्मेशन का और एक बेहतर जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन डेवलप कर सकते हैं. एंड द फाइनल लेवल ऑफ लर्निंग ऑब्जेक्टिव दैट कैन बी अचीव्ड, दैट इज evaluation. Evaluation is the ability to evaluate or judge a particular thing, a particular concept, a particular phenomena, a particular situation. So, evaluation is the final level of learning. So, you know that after you are an expert in a particular subject, you are an expert in a particular area, you can be appointed as a judge for that particular activity. For example, अगर आप डांस के एक्सपर्ट हैं तो अब जब तक उसके हाईएस्ट लेवल ऑफ एक्सपर्टीज पे नहीं पहुंच सकते तो आप डांस के जज नहीं बन सकते. या अगर आप कानून के एक्सपर्ट हैं तो आप कानून प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं, लेकिन जब तक आप उसके हाईएस्ट लेवल ऑफ एक्सपर्टीज पे नहीं पहुंच जाते आप एक जज की पोजीशन को सर्व नहीं कर सकते. सो इवैल्यूएशन ऑफ एनीथिंग, दैट इज द हाईएस्ट लेवल ऑफ लर्निंग, दैट यू आर एबल टू evaluate, that you are able to see all the strengths and weaknesses and how that can be improved and how that what strategies should be used in order to enhance a particular thing that is given to you. So evaluation is the highest level of learning ability, highest level of learning objective that can be achieved through a particular learning activity. So these are the various 6 objectives of a learning activity. It is possible that you may not want people to achieve all these 6 steps. You just want them to learn verbal information or knowledge, or you want them to reach up till the level of application कि वो knowledge acquire कर लें और उसके बाद उस knowledge को acquire करके apply करना सीख लें. You may not want them to be able to analyze or synthesize or evaluate. So you have to understand, you have to see at what level of learning do you want to take them. So according to that, according to the objective of what you want them to achieve, you have to design the objectives. So the various kind of objectives that can be related with these 6 steps, they can be, for example, if you want them to acquire knowledge, you would want them to define or memorize or list, recall, repeat, relate, or name. These could be the objectives that will be used to serve the purpose of knowledge acquisition. Then if you want them to comprehend, what kind of objectives would be involved in that? You want them to discuss a particular concept. You would want them to describe or identify or explain, express, recognize, or review. Then if you want them to achieve the level of application, the kind of objectives that would be involved in application would require them to, for example, translate, interpret, apply, practice, illustrate, operate, demonstrate, dramatize, sketch, employ, or use. So these are the various kind of objectives that could be involved in the level of learning that is application. So a person may be able to use a machinery, a person may be able to employ various concepts to analyze a situation, a person may be able to translate the language, that is the application of learning language, that if a person is learning a particular language, that is able to translate concepts from one language to the other. So application में ये सब objectives involved होंगे. Then if you want them to reach the level of analysis, what kind of objectives would be involved in that? You would want them to distinguish Distinguish means that you want them to differentiate, or you would want them to calculate. For example, if you make them understand a formula, then you would want them to apply that formula to calculate whatever quantitative values are involved with that formula. So you would require them to be able to use numbers to be able to calculate through that formula. Or in analysis, you would want them to experiment or examine or compare and contrast. These could be the various objectives of analysis. Then if you want them to go up to the level of synthesis, for synthesis, what would you want them to do? What would be involved in synthesis? Compose or plan or propose, design, create, prepare, construct, organize, or formulate. So you can see from all these words that these are using information to develop something new. You are planning something, or you're organizing something, or you're formulating something, or you are creating something, you are proposing a new proposition. So that is the level of synthesis. So for example, when you give a proposition in research, that is the level of synthesis, that you are trying to use information that is already present in your mind to synthesize a particular phenomena. And finally, for the level of evaluation, the objectives that may be involved in evaluation are judge or appraise or evaluate or select or score or assess. So as I just discussed a few minutes ago, that judging or evaluation, that is the highest level in which a person is able to give a score or is able to assess a particular situation, assess a particular performance, because that person is able to do all the previous steps. That person is an expert in all those previous steps. In knowledge acquisition, through application, through synthesis, that person is able to see through something कि वो किसी भी चीज को evaluate करने की capability रखता है, इसलिए कि वो इन सब पिछले learning objectives को achieve कर चुका है. So these are the various objectives that may be involved, and the trainer, that person has to see that what is the level of learning that is required in a particular learning activity. And according to that, objectives, they should be designed. Now, in order to design a clear objective, in order to design a clear learning objective, there are various characteristics of that objectives that must be taken care of. So, there are three components of training objective. One is performance. What do you want them to do? The second one is criteria, that how well do you want them to perform? What is the level of performance that is required? And the third element of a good training objective is condition, that in what conditions do you want them to operate? In what conditions do you want them to work? So you have to specify these conditions. So in order to design effective training objectives, you can follow some guidelines. What guidelines to follow? The guidelines that you can follow for designing an effective training objective is, number one, provide a clear idea of what the trainee is expected to be able to do at the end of the training. So this is related with performance. What they should be able to do, what they should be able to achieve. The second guideline is to include standards of performance that can be measured or evaluated. you should include standards of performance. You should involve those standards of performance that can be actually observed. For example, if you design a training objective, that the trainer should know about the concept of job description. Now, if the trainee knows about something that is there in his mind, आपको कैसे पता चलेगा कि वो जानता है उस बारे में? So knowing about something is not an objective that can be evaluated. You cannot get into his mind and see whether he knows about that thing or not. So you need to clearly and crisply describe. So rather than saying that a trainee should know about this concept, you should say the trainee should be able to state or tell about what a job description is. So standards of performance, they should be measurable and observable. The third guideline that can be followed to develop good training objectives is to state the specific resources that the trainee needs to perform the action or behavior specified. So you should state, you should specify what are the tools, what is the equipment that will be involved जो कि ट्रेनी यूज करेगा परफॉर्मेंस शो करने के लिए. कोई सॉफ्टवेयर यूज कर रहा है या कोई मशीन यूज कर रहा है या कोई फैसिलिटी यूज कर रहा है, वो कौन सी ऐसी जगह है या वो कौन सी ऐसी मशीन या इक्विपमेंट है या टूल्स हैं जो कि परफॉर्मेंस के लिए इन्वॉल्व होंगे. सो यू ऑल्सो हैव टू स्पेसिफाई दैट व्हाट टूल्स और इक्विपमेंट इज गोइंग टू बी यूज्ड in performing the learning objectives. And finally, the guideline that should be followed is to describe the conditions under which performance of the objective is expected to occur. So you have to describe the conditions, you have to specify those conditions in which the trainee is going to perform the job. So conditions, for example, a person has to work at night, or the person has to work in very high temperatures, or if there are any dangerous situations involved, or then conditions could also be if a person has to deal with disgruntled customers, dissatisfied customers, if a person has to deal with them, if a person has to work with malfunctioning equipment, all these conditions, they should be specified, that what are the conditions in which the person has to perform the job, has to perform the learning activity. So you have to incorporate these guidelines into developing training objectives. अच्छा, अब मैं आपको एक एग्जाम्पल के थ्रू ये एलैबोरेट करना चाहूंगी कि आप इन कंडीशंस को, आप इन गाइडलाइंस को ट्रेनिंग ऑब्जेक्टिव डिजाइन करने में किस तरह से इनकॉर्पोरेट कर सकते हैं. सो इफ यू सी दैट द फर्स्ट स्टेप इज टू इन्वॉल्व परफॉर्मेंस. नाउ दिस ट्रेनिंग इज अबाउट डिजाइनिंग अ डिजिटल मैप. In order to incorporate performance into the training objective, what you should state, at the end of this training, the learner will be able to construct a digital map. ये तो हो गई performance की dimension. That at the end of this course, the person should be able to develop or construct a digital map. But there is no criteria. What that person should be able to achieve, or there are no conditions in which that person has to design that digital map. So to incorporate that, what you have to do is to specify more clearly that at the end of this training, given the editing tools in ArcGIS 9.1, the learner will be able to construct a digital map. So अब आपने इसमें कंडीशन अप्लाई कर दी, कंडीशन स्पेसिफाई कर दी कि ArcGIS 9.1 सॉफ्टवेयर इस्तेमाल करते हुए, ये टूल इस्तेमाल करते हुए ट्रेनी एक डिजिटल मैप develop कर सकता है. So you have specified the condition. But still, a person is able to develop or design a digital map. What is the achievement level? What is the level that you want that person to achieve in designing that digital map? You also have to specify that. So when you incorporate the criteria of performance, this is how a learning objective will look like. At the end of this training, given the editing tools in ArcGIS 9.1, the learner will be able to construct a digital map of an approximately 5,000-acre designated project area. Work will meet NRCS standards and pass a quality control review by a GIS specialist. So this is how you specify the criteria of performance, that the person should just not be able to design a digital map. This digital map should be designed for approximately an area of 5,000 acres, and it should pass these particular quality checks. So this is the level of performance that you have to incorporate in designing a particular learning objective. Now we are going to discuss that after you have specified or designed effective training objectives, you have to develop meaningful training content. That according to the objectives that you have specified, the objectives that you have achieved, you develop meaningful training content. Developing meaningful training content has two dimensions. One is that the training content should be meaningful. It should relate to the objectives of the training program. कि आप जो objective achieve करना चाह रहे हैं, उस objective के साथ congruent हो आपका training material, training content. So अगर आपका training objective, let's say ये है that your training should be able to apply a specific skill. For example, they are able to operate a computer, and you develop a training content which does not involve practicing to use a computer, and you only give them a lecture about how to operate a computer. This is not congruent with the objective of training. You want them to apply knowledge, whereas you are only disseminating knowledge to them. You are not giving them the opportunity to practice. So this means that your training content is not congruent with your training objective. So the first thing about developing training content, meaningful training content, is that it should be aligned with the training objectives, and that is how it will become meaningful. The second dimension of having meaningful content is that it should be perceived as meaningful by your trainees. जैसे आपने कई दफा एक्सपीरियंस खुद किया होगा क्लास में कि आपको जो पढ़ाया जा रहा है, आपको वो उसकी मीनिंगफुलनेस की इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं बताई जाती, कि जो आप पढ़ रहे हैं इसकी एप्लीकेशन क्या है, इसकी जरूरत क्या है. आपको सिर्फ कोई कॉन्सेप्ट अगर पढ़ा दिया जाए और उसके बारे में आपको उसके वेरियस एलिमेंट्स समझा दिए जाएं, आपको ये नहीं समझ आता कि इस कॉन्सेप्ट का हमारी लर्निंग एक्टिविटी के साथ क्या ताल्लुक है. सो ये बताना भी जरूरी है, ये परसेप्शन भी डेवलप करना जरूरी है, दैट द ट्रेनीज दे शुड परसीव दैट द ट्रेनिंग कंटेंट इज मीनिंगफुल, that whatever they are going to study, whatever they are going to practice, that has some meaning into their overall work life. So this is the more important aspect that should be manipulated, that should be taken care of by the trainers, by the managers. So what can they do to make the employees see the training content as being meaningful? So they can start by telling stories about others' success in applying the training content. For example, if you are giving a safety training, and safety training आपको पता है कि सेफ्टी के लिए होती है, एम्प्लॉय की अपनी सिक्योरिटी के लिए होती है, और ओवरऑल फैसिलिटीज की सिक्योरिटी के लिए भी सेफ्टी ट्रेनिंग होती है. सो आप उनको स्टोरीज बताएं, आप उनको एक्सपीरियंसेस बताएं, वो वाकयात बताएं जिसमें एम्प्लॉयज जिन्होंने सेफ्टी ट्रेनिंग ली वो they have been able to save themselves from various kind of accidents, and they have also been able to save the company or the facilities from various kind of accidents. Then you can create meaning by showing how training relates to company goals and strategy. So you tell them how a particular training content that relates with the company goals and strategy. For example, if you're giving them training for customer service, you tell them how customer service is important, how it is a critical job issue that relates to a critical job process, and that relates to a critical job, a critical business issue. So you show them the relationship of a job issue with the business issue. Then you can create meaning by showing how trainees can use training content ideas at work. So whatever they are learning in training, how that is going to be applicable to their work life, you show them. Then discussing examples or cases that remind trainees of the good and poor work they have seen. आप ऐसी एग्जाम्पल्स उनके साथ केसेस और एग्जाम्पल्स डिस्कस करें जिसमें उनको ये खुद याद आए कि किसी ने अच्छा काम किया है और पुअर परफॉर्मेंस की है या गलत काम किया है, उसमें क्या फर्क है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर आपने सेफ्टी ट्रेनिंग देनी है और एक मैं आपको एग्जाम्पल देती हूँ, एक लार्ज स्केल कमर्शियल बेकरी की, बड़ी बेकरी जहां पर बड़े लार्ज स्केल के ऊपर बेकरी प्रोडक्ट्स जो हैं वो प्रोड्यूस किए जाते थे, वहां पर मैनेजर्स ने ये ऑब्जर्व किया कि एम्प्लॉयज के जो बिहेवियर्स हैं उसमें दे आर अनसेफ. फॉर एग्जाम्पल वो क्या करते हैं कि वो कन्वेयर बेल्ट्स के ऊपर जिन पे मटेरियल्स प्रोसेस हो रहे होते हैं फ्रॉम वन प्लेस टू द अदर, वो उनके ऊपर से स्किप करके दूसरी साइड पे चले जाते हैं बजाय इसके कि वो पूरा मूव करके और उसको बाईपास करके दूसरी साइड के ऊपर जाएं. फिर उन्होंने देखा कि वो इक्विपमेंट के अंदर, चलती हुई इक्विपमेंट के अंदर अगर कोई चीज फंस जाए तो उसको हाथ से निकालने की कोशिश करते हैं बजाय इसके कि वो मशीन को रोकें और फिर उसको रोकने के बाद उस फंसी हुई चीज को निकालने की कोशिश करें. वो चलते हुए मशीन के अंदर हाथ डाल के तो निकालें. इस तरह से वो क्या प्रॉब्लम है कि एक तो वो अपने आप को खतरे में डालते हैं, दूसरा वो कंपनी के लिए नुकसान का बायस बनता है क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली एम्प्लॉय हर्ट होगा, एम्प्लॉय का एक्सीडेंट होगा तो कंपनी हैज टू बेयर द कॉस्ट ऑफ दैट, एंड देन इट क्रिएट्स अ बैड रेपुटेशन कि यहाँ पर कंपनी, इस कंपनी में इस तरह से एक्सीडेंट्स होते हैं. सो वो आप उनको दिखाएं कि ये देखें, ये वीडियोस दिखाएं या उनको शो करें कि इस तरह से जब लोगों ने काम किया तो उनके साथ ये एक्सीडेंट हुआ. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर वो कन्वेयर बेल्ट को स्किप करके जा रहा था तो वो ट्रिप कर गया और उसकी वजह से कन्वेयर बेल्ट को भी नुकसान हुआ और वो बंदा खुद भी गिरा और उसको चोट लगी. सो यू शो देम गुड एंड बैड एग्जाम्पल एंड पुअर एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ परफॉर्मेंस. Then you can create meaning by repeating the application of ideas in different contexts. That you provide them the opportunity to practice what they have learned in various different contexts. So जब वो different contexts में उसको practice करेंगे, for example अगर आप ट्रेनिंग दे रहे हैं कस्टमर सर्विस की जिसमें कस्टमर सर्विस रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ने डिससैटिस्फाइड कस्टमर्स के साथ डील करना है, तो आप उनको मुख्तलिफ सिमुलेशंस, मुख्तलिफ तरह के डिससैटिस्फाइड कस्टमर्स के साथ ट्रेन करके आप उनको ये समझाने की कोशिश कर सकते हैं या आप बताने की कोशिश कर सकते हैं कि जो ट्रेनिंग आप उनको करवा रहे हैं ये कितनी इम्पोर्टेंट है कि वो इन मुख्तलिफ किस्म की सिचुएशंस में उन कस्टमर्स के साथ डील करने के लिए इक्विप हो रहे हैं. Then you can create meaning by presenting evidence of effectiveness of knowledge, skills, and behaviors. So you can show them that people who have been trained for a particular skill or a behavior, they are effective, they are performing better than other people. Then you can create meaning by showing how the conditions that trainee face in training are similar to those on the job. So आप उनको ये दिखाएं कि ये जो हम आपको ट्रेनिंग करवा रहे हैं, फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर आपको डिससेटिस्फाइड कस्टमर्स को डील करने की ट्रेनिंग करवा रहे हैं, दिस इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट यू आर गोइंग टू डू. सो आप उनको शो करें कि आपको जो ट्रेनिंग हो रही है वो ट्रेनिंग आपकी जॉब एप्लीकेशन से आपकी वर्क लाइफ के साथ कितनी रेलेवेंट है. सो दैट विल क्रिएट मीनिंग इन देयर माइंड्स. Then you can create meaning by providing practice or application activities that can be used on the job. So you provide them those activities in which they can practice their skill which is applicable on the job. And then you can provide them hard copies or electronic access to well-organized materials so that if they want to relate or if they want to recall, they have some meaningful material in front of them. And then you can allow them to choose their practice strategy. So if you can give them the opportunity to choose their practice strategy, that is going to create a better meaning in their mind about the training program. So if they want to practice individually, or if they want to practice in pairs, or if they want to practice in groups, or they want to adopt a particular strategy for practicing that skill that you have taught them, if it is possible to incorporate this flexibility in your training program, that is going to give them more meaning about the training content. So after you have designed effective training objectives and you have created a meaningful training content which is also perceived as meaningful by your trainees, now you have to make sure that you provide them appropriate opportunities for practice. Practice is very important for learning. Whether it is verbal information that you want them to learn, उसको याद करने के लिए भी practice की ज़रूरत है, या application करवाना चाहते हैं, उसके लिए भी यूज करके अप्लाई करके प्रैक्टिस की जरूरत है. सो प्रैक्टिस इज द रिपीटेड डूइंग ऑफ समथिंग दैट दे हैव लर्नड. बट बिफोर एम्प्लॉयज कैन प्रैक्टिस, मैनेजर्स एंड ट्रेनर्स, they have to create some pre-practice conditions. What are those pre-practice conditions and how managers and trainers can create effective pre-practice conditions? They can do that by providing information about the process or strategy that will result in the greatest learning. So, आप उनको ये बताएं कि वो कौन सा तरीका है, वो कौन सी strategy है जिसके थ्रू learning most effective होगी, जिसके थ्रू वो सबसे जल्दी और सबसे आसान तरीके से लर्न कर सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आपने उनको किसी इक्वेशन की या फॉर्मूला को यूज करना सिखाना है, तो आप उनको ये बताएं कि द मोर यू प्रैक्टिस देम ऑन वेरियस न्यूमेरिकल्स, उतनी जल्दी वो सीख जाएंगे. या अगर आपने उनको ये सिखाना है कि डिससैटिस्फाइड कस्टमर्स को किस तरह से डील करना है, तो आप उनको ये बताएं कि दिस इज द स्ट्रैटेजी दैट दे मस्ट अडॉप्ट, कि पहले वो उनको ग्रीट करें, उनसे बात करें, उसके बाद उनका प्रॉब्लम समझने की कोशिश करें, रिकॉल करें कि इसी तरह के प्रॉब्लम्स उनको कहाँ पे पेश आए, उस सिचुएशन में उन्होंने किस तरह से डील किया. सो ये आप उनको स्ट्रैटेजी बताएं, वो प्रोसेस समझाएं कि किस तरह से लर्निंग मैक्सिमम हो सकती है. जैसे आप अपने आपको टीचर्स कई दफा बताते होंगे कि आप इस तरह से पढ़ें तो आप जल्दी याद कर लेंगे, या आप इस तरह से पढ़ें तो आप एग्जाम में अच्छा परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं, आपको ये बातें इस तरह से याद रह जाएंगी. तो आप उनको वो स्ट्रैटेजीज और वो प्रोसेसेस बताएं जिसके थ्रू आप लर्निंग मैक्सिमाइज कर सकते हैं. सो दिस इज प्री प्रैक्टिस कंडीशन. जब वो प्रैक्टिस करना शुरू करें उससे पहले आप उनको वो स्ट्रैटेजीज और प्रोसेसेस बताएं जिसके थ्रू लर्निंग मैक्सिमाइज हो सकती है. Then encourage trainees to develop a strategy to reflect on their own learning process. आप ट्रेनीज को ये एनकरेजमेंट प्रोवाइड करें, ये एनकरेजमेंट दें कि वो अपनी ट्रेनिंग के बारे में खुद रिफ्लेक्ट करें, अपनी लर्निंग के बारे में खुद रिफ्लेक्ट करें, वो खुद सोचें कि वो किस तरह से बेहतर तरीके से लर्न कर सकते हैं. दिस इज कॉल्ड मेटाकॉग्निशन. दिस इज द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ मेटाकॉग्निशन, which means individual control over one's thinking. So, a person has control over its own thinking and its own learning behavior. Metacognition can be developed through two processes. One is monitoring and second one is control. पहले आप monitor करेंगे अपने behavior को. Monitoring involves identifying the problem or task, evaluating one's own learning progress, and predicting what will occur as a result of learning. So, in monitoring, you will see what is involved in conducting a task, in doing a task, and how are you learning, evaluating your own learning progress, कि आप उसमें किस तरह से प्रोग्रेस कर रहे हैं, आप उसमें किस तरह से लर्न करें. दिस इज मॉनिटरिंग, that you are monitoring your own behavior according to the tasks that need to be performed. And the second one is control, that after you have monitored, after you have seen, you have observed, you have reflected on your own progress, then control includes identifying the specific steps for completing a task, deciding how quickly or how much attention to devote to the task, and deciding how to prioritize learning. So when you are controlling your own learning behavior, you will specify the exact steps that you will need to incorporate in order to learn a task, and then you will be able to prioritize learning, that what do you have to do. आपको याद करना है या आपको प्रैक्टिस करनी है, आपको प्रैक्टिस करके याद होता है या आपको लिख के याद होता है या आपको वर्बली जहन में रिमाइंड करके याद होता है. सो यू हैव टू प्रायोरिटाइज कि कौन सा काम करके आपकी लर्निंग मैक्सिमाइज हो सकती है. सो दिस इज कंट्रोल ओवर योर ओन लर्निंग एंड कंट्रोल ओवर योर ओन थिंकिंग. सो इफ यू आर एबल टू प्रैक्टिस metacognition, if the trainees are able to practice metacognition, they will have more control over their learning abilities. Then trainers can develop advanced organizers to facilitate pre-practice conditions. What are advanced organizers? They are outlines, texts, diagrams, and graphs that help trainees organize the information that will be presented and practiced. So if you can present them, these are organizers that organize thinking of your mind. So if you present them with a diagram that they can follow, or if you can present them some text in points that they can follow in order to complete the task, these organizers will help them effectively practice the task that you want them to practice. Then you can create good practice conditions by helping trainees set challenging mastery and learning goals. So if you help the trainees to set challenging goals for them, if you help them set difficult goals for them, they will be able to progress better. This is the application of goal setting theory in this particular situation. Then create realistic expectations for the trainees by communicating what will occur in training. This is also important. That एक तरफ तो आप उनको हेल्प करें कि वो चैलेंजिंग और डिफिकल्ट ऑब्जेक्टिव्स अपने लिए सेट करें, लेकिन दूसरी तरफ आप उनको हेल्प करें कि वो रियलिस्टिक ऑब्जेक्टिव्स भी सेट करें. सो आपको याद है कि हमने गोल सेटिंग थ्योरी में ये पढ़ा था दैट द गोल्स शुड बी चैलेंजिंग एंड डिफिकल्ट येट अचीवेबल. सो द गोल्स दैट दे सेट, दे मस्ट बी रियलिस्टिक. दे मस्ट नॉट बी अनरियलिस्टिक गोल्स दैट दे मे नॉट बी एबल टू अचीव. अगर वो नहीं अचीव करेंगे फिर उनका मोटिवेशन लेवल डाउन चला जाएगा और वो परफॉर्म नहीं कर सकेंगे. सो यू हैव टू क्रिएट help them create meaningful, difficult, challenging goals, but they should not be unrealistic. And finally, when training employees in teams, clarify roles and responsibility of team members. So if you are working in teams, if you are working in groups, then you should be able to clarify what each member of the group is supposed to do. अगर उनको ये नहीं पता होगा, अगर उनको रोल क्लैरिटी नहीं होगी, अगर उनको ये नहीं पता होगा कि टीम का कौन सा मेंबर कौन सा काम करेगा, they will not be able to practice their skills effectively. So these are the pre-practice conditions that you have to make sure that you create these effective pre-practice conditions. And then you come to the point of practice. Now you are going to allow the trainees to practice their skills. Practice में एक concept involved है which is called overlearning. Overlearning means continuing to practice even after being able to perform the objectives several times. You must remember from your own experiences कि आपके टीचर्स आपको न्यूमेरिकल करवाए जाएंगे. आप कहेंगे हमें आ गया है, लेकिन वो फिर भी करवाए जाएंगे. आप क्वेश्चन याद कर रहे हैं और आपने याद कर लिया है, लेकिन आपसे बार बार सुने जाएंगे. आपसे कहेंगे 4 दफा डेफिनेशन को रिपीट करो. अब इसका क्या मतलब है? ये करवाने की क्या जरूरत है? This is the concept of overlearning. That the trainees, the learners, they continue to do the thing, they continue to do that task that they have learned, they have already learned, but it is done again and again. Overlearning helps in embedding the learning in a person's long-term memory. Do you remember? Long-term memory के बारे में हमने बात की थी, जिसमें rehearsal बहुत important है. So, you have to embed the learning into the person's long-term memory. आप उस वक्त तो सीख जाते हैं, उस वक्त तो आपको लगता है कि सब स्टेप्स बहुत क्लियर हैं, उस वक्त आपको लगता है कि आपने परफॉर्म कर लिया है. But after a certain period of time, the learning fades away. So, overlearning is something that helps to embed the training content into long-term memory. Then another aspect of practice is error management training. Error management is giving trainees opportunities to make errors during training, and it provides the opportunity for trainees to engage in metacognition. So, आपको ये भी experience से मालूम होगा कि जब आप गलती करते हैं तो गलती करके आप सबसे ज्यादा सीखते हैं. So, practice में आप ऐसी conditions create करें जिसमें trainees गलती करें, और जब वो गलती करेंगे तो उनको मौका मिलेगा कि वो रिफ्लेक्ट करें उन्होंने गलती क्यों की. So that will generate the process of metacognition in which the trainee will be able to reflect on its own learning, on its own progress. So in practice, you should be able to incorporate such situations in which trainees, they will definitely make the mistake. And then from that mistake, they will be able to learn better. Practice can be massed or spaced. Massed practice is when practice is taking place at one time, in one go. Whereas spaced practice is where there are some time intervals between spaced practice, between the practice routine. Whether you want people to continuously practicing something and complete the whole process in one go, or whether you want them to complete in various intervals, that depends on 3 aspects. One is overall task complexity. Overall task complexity means that how many various distinct behaviors, distinct choices, and level of uncertainty is there in conducting a task. कितने different behaviors show करने हैं, कितने different choices हैं आपके पास कि आप task को perform कर सकते हैं, और उसमें कितनी uncertainty है. This is overall task complexity. Then the other dimension is your mental requirements. And the third dimension is physical requirement. So, if a task is high on all these dimensions, mental requirement भी है, mental processes भी हैं, physical processes भी हैं, और task भी बहुत complex है. इस situation में you will want them to practice in intervals. Whereas if a task is low in all these dimensions, mental requirements भी low हैं, physical requirements भी low हैं, और complex task भी नहीं है, तो वो एक one go में practice किया जा सकता है. For example, अगर आप उनको typing करना सिखा रहे हैं, तो typing requires very low mental requirements, उसमें को बहुत ज़्यादा synthesis और application नहीं required. It requires low physical requirements, and it is not a very complex thing to learn. So that practice can go in one go. Whereas if you are conducting a training of airplane control simulation, that involves a high level of mental requirement. उसमें बहुत mental stress को bear करने की, और different various machines को operate करने की, और इन सब चीज़ों को coordinate करने की requirement है. So high level of mental requirement. Then high level of physical requirement as well. And it is a very complex task. There are many choices, and there can be so many different uncertain situations. So if you are training them for airplane control simulation, then the practice should be spaced. So on these dimensions, you have to see that how to design practice. Then you have to make sure that employees, they can commit training content to memory. That involves automatization. If a person is able to learn something in a way that it becomes an instinct in their mind, that will be very helpful. For example, if you are learning to type, when you have become an expert in that, it becomes automatized in your mind. You don't have to think where is the Y key, or where is the I key, or where is the L key. It becomes automatized in your mind. So, in order to commit training content to memory, trainers can facilitate automatization if it is possible in some kind of tasks. Finally, employees, they need feedback, and they learn from observation and social experiences. So you need to give them feedback. We have discussed feedback many times. And they learn from social experiences. So you need to give them experiences of interaction with groups, interaction with other people, interaction with the trainee. And then employees, they need that the program should be properly coordinated. So the administration of the program should be smooth and flawless. So they should be able to easily register, access the training material, and the administration of the training program should be designed in a way so that there are no administrative or procedural errors. So these are the characteristics of a good instructional design, the general characteristics of a good instructional design. Next time, we are going to talk about specific characteristics of an instructional design. These were the general characteristics. Then we are going to talk about some specificities. So until next time, take care. Allah Hafiz.